Good morning and welcome back to Training Thursday here on Gaming with ADHD, where today we're going to be continuing our deep dive into the Warhammer 40,000 Combat Patrol as is seen in the pages of the Hachette Publications Combat Patrol magazine. Now, if you're new here, this is the second episode in the series. Last week, we talked about basically combat between two individual models. And this week, we're going to be talking about combat between models of, or units of two different sizes. There we go. Words are fun to put together. Anyways, so before we get into it, do make sure you're subscribed to the channel. I try to put out a few videos each week covering all sorts of tabletop gaming content, live streams, shorts, all sorts of stuff, whether it's about tabletop, board games, miniatures, or role playing. We'd love for you to come along and see what we have to share. So, with that out of the way, let's get into this. All right, so real quick, we are taking things from the Combat Patrol binder. So, if you aren't aware, the magazines come in such a way that they can be split into different sections based on building or painting or reading, just because Warhammer has an extensive amount of fiction. And so they also include various scenarios and tutorial type games or missions for you to play. So what we're doing today is introduction. I realize you can't. Oh, there we go. Introduction 02, Predator and Prey. So last time we had our Space Marine Captain in Terminator armor versus the winged, the winged Tyranid Prime. Sorry, I'm still getting used to some of the newer 40k names. All right. Says the captain in Terminator armor has fended off the winged Tyranid Prime, but more Tyranids are on the way. A trio of Von Ryan's Leapers have been dispatched by the Hive Mind to protect its territory from invaders. Combining their strength, they may be able to overwhelm the captain in Terminator armor. So, let's see. Models, units, and more. Your Warhammer 40,000 collection can be used on the tabletop to fight battles. We call the collection of models you use in games an army. Every army is made up of units, models, or collections of similar models that fight together. The Space Marine Captain in Terminator armor is a unit, as is the group of 3 Von Ryan's Leapers you received with this issue. In the next section, you'll learn how to use one unit of multiple models to fight a single model with another thrilling battle. All right. So, last time I got to say, I like how they did it. I like how they've been developing the story. So we have our Space Marine Captain who was kind of trapped behind enemy lines, and he's making his way back, and he's going to encounter more Tyranids. All right, so intro concepts, multi-model units. Battles are not won by individuals, but by the collective efforts of vast groups of soldiers. From the tight-knit martial brotherhoods of the Space Marines to the physically linked broods of the Tyranids. These warriors combine their strengths to achieve feats of might that would be impossible for any lone soldier. So, obviously in your games of 40k, that's going to be what most of your stuff is units of multiple models. Many units in Warhammer 40,000 are made up of multiple models. Multiple models in a unit usually have the same characteristics and use the same weapons. Your Von Ryan's Leapers are one such unit. You'll receive many more as your Warhammer 40,000 Combat Patrol collection grows. So, obviously, we've got one unit, and we've got one unit. All right. Attacking with a multi-model unit. When a unit of multiple models attacks, all the models in that unit make their attacks at the same time. You can roll all the dice for all the models in a unit at the same time to speed up battles. Von Ryan's Leapers each have 6 attacks, so a unit of 3 would make 18 attacks when they fight. So let's zoom in a little bit. So they've got basically close-up of an attack line for the weapon. Each Von Ryan's Leaper has 6 attacks for a massive total of 18 attacks with the Leaper's talons. So, we're going to be taking all of the attacks for all models in the unit, rolling it at the same time. All right, being wounded as a multi-model unit. All right, units of multiple models also take damage as a group. If you control a unit and it is wounded, you choose a model to allocate wounds to. Continue to allocate wounds to that model until it is slain. Any excess damage is discarded when a model is slain. So, says the Captain in Terminator armor, wounds of Von Ryan's Leaper. Further wounds must be allocated to this Von Ryan's Leaper until it is slain. So, if you do damage, everything goes on the same model until you win. All right, mission 2, Predator and Prey. Now we actually get into actually doing the fight. All right, so here we have Space Marine Captain. There we go. And I'm messing with the lighting to try and make it show up, but I thought it would be better than just a top-down view. But we have one Von Ryan's Leaper right here, one here, and one here. You can actually see that on the little deployment sheet. They say, okay, you put your captain in the middle and the 3 Von Ryan Leapers close to it. So, all right, deployment. To deploy for this battle, first, place your battle mat on a flat surface, blah, blah, blah. Place your models in the center of the board as seen in the example below. Make sure your dice are close to hand. With that, you're ready to go. All right, so how to win. The battle ends immediately when one unit is slain. The Captain in Terminator armor is slain when he suffers 6 wounds, while a single Von Ryan's Leaper is slain when they suffer 3 wounds. Rolling in batches. The Von Ryan's Leapers have lots of attacks. 18. When attacking with the Von Ryan's Leapers, break up their attacks into batches of 6, or simply use more dice from your collection. Alright, so, as always, I have my dice tray with a whole bunch of Games Workshop little mini white dice. So, Tyranids are going to go first. So the Von Ryan's Leapers attacks are broken into 3 stages. Hit rolls, wound rolls, and save rolls. All right, so there's 6, 12, 18. So we've got 18 dice. So when a unit attacks, every model in it attacks at the same time. In this case, a unit of 3 Von Ryan Leapers would make 18 attacks. You can roll in batches if you don't have any spare dice. I've got plenty of dice, so we're going to roll it all at once. Oh, that one doesn't count. It wasn't on the dice tray. All right, so every 3 or higher has successfully hit. So we're going to separate out anything that's not a 3 or higher. So we've got 5 unsuccessful attacks. And then, obviously, 13 remaining. Now, to see if the Von Ryan's Leapers have struck hard enough to potentially injure the Captain, roll again. The Leaper's talons have a strength of 5, which is equal to the Captain's toughness of 5, which means they need to roll a 4 or higher. Okay, so if they're equal, you need 4s. All right, and this is not good for our Captain. So we've got 4 unsuccessful wounds. And we've got, looks like 9. Yes, 9 successful wounds. All right, Space Marine Captain then gets to save. Against the Leaper's Talon, the Captain in Terminator armor has a save of 3+. So, anything but a 1 or a 2. Alright, so we've got 2 2s and a 1. So he saves 6 and takes 3 wounds. Alright. Every roll of 3+ is blocked by the captain's Terminator armor. The Leaper's talons are not quite as deadly as the winged Tyranid Prime's talons. For each successful wound that is not saved in this way, place 1 wound marker next to the Captain and Terminator armor. Alright, so here's our battle. We've got 3 wound tokens placed next to our captain. So he is already half out of the game. Not good for our Space Marine captain. All right. So the captain the captain now gets to fight back. He's an experienced fighter, well used to being outnumbered. When he attacks, he can strike his foes 6 times with his relic blade. So there's actually, so we'll switch back to, there we go. So there's our 6 dice. All right, so I need anything but a 1. All right, so all 6 hit. I need to check to wound. So we already determined that it's strength 5 versus toughness 5. Wait, no, that was the other way around. But in this case, it's actually the same. So still dealing with 4s for wounds. All right, so we only got 1 wound. That is not good. The armor of the Tyranids, the chitin plates, obviously was too strong. So he's only doing 1 wound, of which the Tyranid gets to save on a 6+, which can only roll a 6. So there we go. So one of our Von Ryan's Leapers is going to take 2 wounds. So no one has been removed from the game. So obviously we're going to go back to the top and start again. So there's 5, 8, 11, 14, 16, wait, 6, 12, yeah, 16, 18. There we go. 18 dice. That is one thing that I do like in games like this, is just being able to roll that bucket of dice. All right, so the Tyranids, again, need anything but a 1 or a 2. So we've got 3 failures. Ooh, even worse this time. Definitely not even half. So 6, 12 out of 18. So 2/3 of them failed. All right. And we need a 4, 5, or 6 to get a wound, of which we got 2 wounds. And then our Space Marine captain needs anything but a 1 or a 2 to save. And he saves both of them. All right. I literally thought that this captain was going to get wrecked just now. So let's get 6 new dice out. Okay. So back to our captain. Captain needs anything but a 1 to hit. So 5 hits. 4 or higher, 4, 5, or 6 to wound. So he's got 2 wounds. And then the Tyranids get 6s to save. All right, saved 1. All right, now, let's see. I forgot to read this last time. The Relic Blade inflicts 2 damage per unsaved wound. Von Ryan's Leaper has 3 wounds. This means it takes 2 unsaved wound rolls from the Relic Blade to slay one. The extra wound is then discarded and not allocated to another model. So we would put our 2 wounds on to this guy, at which point he is eliminated. So we're going to take him off the table, and the wound markers are going to go with. All right, back up to the top, but now we only get to roll 12 dice. So 4, 8, 11, 12. All right, so 3+ to hit. So 10 of them hit. 4+ to wound. So 1, 2, 3, 4 of them miss. So we've got 6 wounds, of which the captain, again, needs 3 or higher. All right, so he's going to take 1 more wound. And he's up to 4. And then back to the captain. So, obviously, super exciting, rolling lots of dice. Let's see if we can kill this guy, or these last 2 right away. So, anything but a 1 to hit. So we've got 5 hits. 4+ to wound, of which we've got 2 wounds. And 6s to save with 1 save. All right. So, obviously, super exciting, but this is kind of how you're going to go. But it is a little bit, in this particular case, it's a little bit different. Normally you would have, like after the melee combat, you'd go back, the other player would get to take their full turn. And then you'd come back to the combat as part of it. This is just the only thing we have. So let's, you know what? Let's go one more round and see if we can finish this off. All right. So there's 7, 10, 12. All right. So we need 3+ to hit. So we've got 10 hits. We need 4+ to wound. Oof, not good. I was hoping to end this. So we've got 5 wounds, and the Space Marine needs 3+ to save. I keep having to reference it. Over time, you get better at remembering the stuff. All right. And he is going to fail 2 more times. So, in the end, it looks like our Space Marine captain in Terminator has been brought down by the Tyranids. So, let's come back here. So, as we have, the battle ends for now. Tyranid victory. The Von Ryan's Leapers stand triumphant over the captain in Terminator armor and prepare to feast on his brain. They are stopped at the final moment by the sound of a bulkhead breaking nearby and a jet of searing flame. So, I love how, again, I love how they're doing this. I like how they're telling the story, you know, as it moves along. I'm a little disappointed in my captain. I thought that he would make it through this particular battle, but it turns out no. Sometimes that happens. So, just remember, when you're dealing with multiple units, when you're allocating wounds, you've just got to allocate to the same model until it's eliminated. So you can't like spread all of your wounds out around all of the different models. You've got to keep stacking it until it's dead. And once it's eliminated, you can move on to the next model. Anything excess doesn't transfer. Those are lost. But regardless, it can make for some really fun, really dynamic games when you've got that lone hero up against that swarm, whether it's a bunch of termagants or, in this case, some Von Ryan's Leapers. So, hope you enjoyed it. If you did, please make sure you give it a thumbs up. Also, if you're new here, hit the subscribe button. We'd love to have you come back, and come back next week where we will get to Introduction Part 3, and we start getting into shooting. So, thanks for watching, and we'll talk to you next time.